And welcome back to Illini Drive. It is Wednesday, and we are back. We didn't have a show on Monday because of Martin Luther King Day, but I am here. I'm Jake Hasan. Tommy Polcyn's here. Alex Aguilera is here. And for the first time,
don't give me that.
he is here. Nathan DeHaan has decided to join the show. Welcome back. I took your chair because you lost your head chair privileges. How's it feel to rejoin the team, man?
I need to defend my honor a little bit here.
Let's hear it.
I had one absence that I
Would you like to speak into the camera?
into the camera. I'll look right into the camera. I had one absence that I'll put on me. You know, I'll wear that one on my shoulder, on my heart. I was in True Detective. Completely forgot that we were doing the show first week on Monday.
It's really good so far.
It is
I'll
really
give you
good so
that.
far.
It is.
Do I regret it? Yes, because I let my peers and my listeners and fans down. But no, I don't regret starting the series. You should watch True Detective Season 3. So, Episode 2, I had an excused absence. My biz frat had like a rush event that I just couldn't miss. And then, obviously, we didn't do a show on Monday due to Martin Luther King Day. So it feels like it's been a long time, especially a long time for me because of the absences. But
Nice to see you show up, man.
hey, it's good to be here. It's always a pleasure.
All right. Well, that was housekeeping for the day. Let's get into it, though. Illinois basketball. We didn't have a show to talk about the Minnesota game that Illinois won 95-68. I think we were all wrong, or at least me and Tommy were wrong because Nathan wasn't here. But me and Tommy and Alex all expected Illinois to lose that game against Minnesota. They won it handily. It was very surprising, especially considering that Minnesota seemed to have a lot of advantages roster-wise, matchup-wise, but Illinois came out and played well. Tommy?
Little note on that.
Sure.
It's kind of crazy. So I initially had said that the reason that we would get smoked by Minnesota was Jordan Murphy down low. And I thought he'd be a monster. Didn't really do much in the game against us. The next game, he comes out and puts up 20 points and 21 rebounds.
Yeah.
Like, how did our defense of all teams do that? How do we shut him down?
Yeah, I don't know. It was very weird. And like you said, I think we all talked about him. But they had a really good game, Illinois, all across the board. Io continued to play well. Georgie had maybe his best game of the season. He had 20 points, 7 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds, I think, in that game. Just everybody played well. Tevian Jones got a lot of run in that game.
Tev looks good.
Yeah. So moving on to the next game, Iowa then didn't play as well, lost 95-71. But Iowa's a ranked team. They're a really good team, especially down low. The only note I have really from that game is that when this team gets cold, they get really cold and they can't really shoot themselves out of it. And when another team goes on a hot streak, you know, every team gives up hot streaks, but Illinois doesn't really know how to break a hot streak of another team. And then my other thing was Tevian Jones got 16 minutes in this game. So it looks like he's becoming a bigger part of the rotation again.
He's been really good in the time he's been in. He's just had a lot of foul trouble.
Fouls, yeah.
You know, because it's a lot of times where they see him come in, hit a three, he looks great, he'll lock somebody down on defense, then you get 2 straight fouls and he sits on the bench.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, 3 fouls in 16 minutes isn't great. But, I mean, I think if he keeps getting some run, because that was Georgie's problem too, and then he sort of figured it out a little bit. So
It felt like the Iowa game and the Minnesota game were the exact same game except opposite.
Yep.
I mean, it was one offense that just couldn't miss, and the other guys, you know, ended up dropping something like 70 points because it wasn't, you know, a great defense they were going up against, so they were going to get their points. And then first hand Illinois, second hand Iowa. One team was just balling that day. So tough to be on the receiving end. It was nice to surprise a Minnesota team that's been overachieving this season. Yeah. But I mean, you know, they're top half of the Big Ten table.
They beat
we came out.
Wisconsin. They were 13-3 at the time.
Exactly. So
I just came across Jordan Murphy's like actual player profile on ESPN, and so I'm looking at some of his stats. So in the game against us, he had 11 points and 3 rebounds.
Yep.
The game after that, he goes to Penn State, has 19 points, 21 rebounds, and then on Tuesday, just yesterday, against Michigan, the number 5 team in the country, he had 15 and 11.
Yeah.
So it's like this guy is a walking double-double, and he only got 3 boards against us. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's incredible, especially considering Illinois' really only their size is Samba Kane and Adonis De La Rosa, and I don't think either of them. Samba played a little bit in that game.
Yeah.
Adonis did not play at all. So Georgie was your biggest guy essentially in that game, and he's only 6'10", 6'9.5-ish. And he's playing center against a guy like Jordan Murphy, who, like you said, averages a double-double, and Murphy gets neutralized. So that was a really encouraging thing. And then, like Nathan said, it gets flipped against Iowa, which is kind of disappointing because in the post game after Minnesota, Io Desumnu said, "Okay, we're ready to throw some punches now. We've been taking a lot of punches. Now it's our turn." And then they lose by 24 to Iowa. It's not great, but I mean, for the Iowa game, it's the second straight game that DeMonte Williams starts. How do we feel about that so far?
I like him in that 3 role. I think he's a good defender. He's good on the glass, and he kind of provides like that stability that. I mean, obviously, Iowa's awesome on defense. Trent can put some pressure on, but DeMonte is like the one guy that you're going to throw out there that's pretty much strictly defense. And I mean, obviously, he'll get a couple buckets here and there, but I don't know. I like it. I think he's a nice little fit with them.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. It's not a traditional guard role.
Right.
With him playing the 3 and sort of just being like a utility player to rotate around and put up good defense. And that's something that this team needed. And I like that it's Underwood's way of saying to Aaron Jordan, like you kind of played your way out of this starting 5. I mean, we know that he's the senior in the leadership and how much he's bought into this program, but you got to be able to put good minutes on the court. And DeMonte just gave you better minutes than Aaron Jordan did, and it seems consistent since DeMonte's been switching the lineup too.
Yeah, especially considering Aaron Jordan's had some foul issues the last few games. I mean, he fouled out in 19 minutes against Iowa, which is, as a senior guard, like you should know better than that. You should be able to play around that. He shot decently well. He was 3 for 6 from 3, but when you're fouling out, I mean, that doesn't really help anybody. So I think, I said this all year, I think Jordan's better as that 6-man role. I think he's better coming off the bench and being a facilitator. But, I mean, to go for Io DeSunmu to go from scoring 20-plus points a game and getting 5-6 rebounds a game, I mean, he still had 6 assists and 4 rebounds and 2 steals, but he only scored 15 points. He shot very poorly, 6 for 15 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3. I mean, do we expect a bounce? It's, I mean, considering where he was at, the way he was playing before against teams like Michigan,
right? I mean, obviously, you expect more. You expect him to be more efficient, but
we knew it had to end at some point. You knew he wasn't going to play like that the rest of the season. But what do we expect for Io tonight against Wisconsin?
I don't know too much about Wisconsin's guards. Really, the only player I know that's come back that's very dominant is Ethan Happ. Ethan Happ is obviously not going to be guarding Io, so. Right. I mean, from what I know about these Wisconsin guards, it should be a decent matchup. It's somebody that, I mean, Trent went off against them last year. I remember. I don't know how their freshmen are at the guard position.
Is that the game Trent scored 30?
He had 30 in that game, yeah. It might have been more. It was like 35 or something.
I thought it was like 31.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure, but he went off in that game.
He did.
So expect something out of him. Expect a pretty big game from Io. I think it should be a pretty good matchup for us.
I think the disease is going to be Ethan Happ. He's going to be what just eats at you the entire game, and he's just one of those unstoppable players. Then, especially with Illinois' defense, you're not going to be able to just shut out somebody like that or even really contain them. He averages 20 points a game. I think he gets that easily. I think he maybe drops even a 30-burger on us. But I mean, I just think that's the reality of the game. Is he's a forward. We're weak inside. He can get buckets inside. The big way we stay in this game is guard play. And that's one thing that we've said about Illinois almost all season is, the pros are the guards. We have so many of them that we can run them. If somebody's on, we can leave them out there and get surprise minutes out of, a Feliz or if DeMonte's having a really good game.
Griffin even.
Exactly.
Griffin looked pretty good though.
Griffin's minutes have gone up as well. Him and Tevian Jones, and I know we talked about this in the first or second show when we first got back, Nathan, that we wanted to see more Tevian Jones and Alan Griffin. And now it seems like Underwood's giving them that leash again that we kind of saw in the beginning of the year, especially for Tevian Jones, who missed 8 games. I think
he was suspended. Obviously, it was different.
Yeah, right. But he was suspended.
I think it was 8 games.
8 games, something like that. So it's nice to see him get some run because he's one of your best athletes. And Griffin does. He kind of fills that DeMonte Williams role where he makes like the hustle plays. He's kind of a grinder defensively. I think he just shoots a little bit better.
Oh yeah, much better.
So
he's a great 3-point shot.
I loved seeing Tavian be the first sub in the Iowa game.
Yes.
That was something.
Looks so good.
I was excited about that.
I think he was the first sub in Minnesota too.
I believe so.
Almost positive he was.
Yeah.
And then he picked up 2 fouls right away and got taken out for the rest of the half. But
he
had 3 first though.
He did.
Tevian Jones has a quick release where he can get a shot up fairly quickly. So
and he's long.
Yeah. So that plays, especially when you're kind of lacking, a good athlete that can keep up with guys like some of the better athletes that you're going to face. Ethan Happ, back to him for a second. He measures in at 6'10", and I think like 238 he's listed at. So probably Georgie on him. Imagine,
I would
right?
think so.
It would have to be
Samba, maybe.
Yeah, I think. How much do we think we see Samba tonight?
That's the thing is like I think
He got
that
8 minutes against Iowa, and he played really well. He had 4 points. I think he had 3 blocks in 8 minutes.
I think you have to give him more time.
Yeah,
I want to see like at least 15, 16 minutes out of him.
Yeah,
and I would love that. I think that's perfect.
And he's not fouling at an astronomical rate either.
No.
He didn't pick up any fouls against Iowa, which is interesting that he only got 8 minutes then. But he's blocking everything. I mean, he's your best defender, I think.
Watching Samba develop gets me so excited for the big men that are coming in and just how huge we're going to be inside. And they have Georgie be able to stretch out and play that 3 role. But yeah, I think Georgie's got to guard up Ethan Happ. I loved the Minnesota game. Felt like a Georgie coming out party almost, where he was scoring, he was a part of the energy, he was a part of the offense, and like you said, when we expected to get bodied down low, Georgie was the answer. And you didn't expect that, especially at the beginning of the season when we thought he was a freshman just coming in,
right.
And now he's been a staple of the starting lineup, and he's really starting to show that he's got leadership abilities and can body up bigger players when need be. And for that reason, I'm really excited to see what Georgie does the rest of the season. But I agree that we got to see some Samba minutes. Got to see what he can do against Big Ten opponents and help him along that develop.
I think in the beginning of the year, we saw a lot of Georgie kind of forcing things where, like, if he was open a little bit, he'd be taking that 3 no matter what, He would kind of just go in, and if he's dribbling it, he'd chuck it up. But now, like, the way he moves in the post, he's so good because he can back guys down like it's nothing, and he's got that little hook now that he finishes it at like probably 8 out of 10 times.
His game has definitely become more refined as the season's gone on. And I mean, back to Nathan's point, we didn't know what we were getting with him. We thought he was just going to be a very raw prospect that would see a couple minutes late in games that were out of hand already, and now he's your starting center. And
I mean, I don't know for sure, like, don't 100% quote me on it, but I think one of us said he was like a slightly better Matik Vessel.
We did. I think we did.
Yeah, we were a little off on that one.
A little bit, yeah. So it's great to see him developing that. And like Nathan said, you have that size coming in next year too, with Cockburn in January. So it makes you think about, Georgie's going to be able to take on a little bit of a smaller role next year, but still be like a starting level.
Not even smaller role. Like, I think it's almost like he just moves to power forward and starts too and does the same thing.
That would make sense. Just go an enormous lineup of Georgie, Samba, January, Cockburn, and Io. just put trees out there.
I'd love it though. I'd love it. I love teams that are just big all the way around, so that no matter who you're guarded up against, you have to shoot over them.
This is kind of like getting off the topic, but if I had a dream starting 5 next year, Io, Trent, Tevian, Georgie, and Kofi.
Yeah, I mean
that's really good.
Yeah, it is.
All underclassmen. That's an all underclassman.
Trent will be a junior.
Trent. Yeah, never mind. That would be interesting.
Be unbelievable.
Story of the season is how quickly Kipper Nichols has played his way just out of the conversation. I mean, he was the player we were looking forward to see take the next big step this season. And I mean, right there, he's not in the starting 5 of next year. He's not really in what I want to see on the floor this year. And for somebody that I was so high on after his first 2 seasons, it's crazy how quickly I'm just sort of forgetting about him.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing with Kipper. That was going to be my point too. This is the second straight game he scored 0 points against Minnesota, 0 points against Iowa. He's slowly getting his minutes reduced. And we knew that Kipper had a short leash last year, that him and Underwood sort of butted heads over, his role or what was expected of him. And then this year, Kipper started pretty well. I felt like, at least as a contributor and sort of a role player type of situation. Not really the guy that you would expect to score 27 points like he did against Michigan State last year. But I think it's becoming more and more apparent with every game that Kipper Nichols is just a guy that can get you a couple rebounds. Maybe he'll get you a couple assists, can make a jumper here or there, but he's not going to be that guy that scores 20, 25, even 18, 17 in there, even the high teens. He's a guy that'll chip in 8 points, 6 points, couple boards, couple assists. Do you think Kipper's time in the starting lineup, in the starting 5, is coming to an end? Like, would you like to see Tevian starting?
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Because I was on yesterday's show with Isaac and Eli, and they said that, and I agree with that the season's done. I mean, you're not going anywhere. Your best hope is NIT. So you might as well start developing these guys now, see what you got. So start giving Tevian more runs, start giving Alan Griffin more minutes. And maybe that involves benching Kipper Nichols and starting Tevian Jones.
I'd be okay with it. I mean, I like Tev more as kind of like that swingman role, but like if you want to play him at the 4, like the kind of stretch 4 position, I mean, I'm fine with that too. He's big enough, obviously.
Yeah.
So whatever it takes to get him out there more, I'm okay with it.
I was walking to class behind Tevian Jones the other day, and yeah, he was with Georgie, and I noticed both of them from behind, and I was like, they are the same height. Like Tevian's. That's why when I say he's long, I mean he's tall. He's got really long arms, and I like it. It's good for the team.
I like it.
Yeah,
That's a consensus.
Yeah, I mean Tevian, we've been talking about. I think before the season started, we talked about that he could be a contributor as long as he, can refine his game a little bit and isn't completely raw as a player. And he's shown a little bit that he still has some more to work on. But it looks like Underwood's trusting him a little more, is trying to develop his game a little more by giving him those minutes. I mean, with Hap, do you think we see Tevian a little bit more just because he is one of your better athletes and he is so long, and trying to see if he can keep up with Hap, or is that just asking for a foul out?
I wouldn't say a foul out. I mean, Hap isn't like the guy that necessarily is gonna kind of back him down and really kind of cut that hard.
But you don't think that But you don't think he knows, or that Wisconsin knows that Tevian is suspect to foul trouble and that they can maybe bait him a little bit?
I'm sure they know that, but I think that that's just kind of really not Hap's game. I mean, if he's on Hap, I think that's an okay matchup for him just because they are similar size, they're similar length. I think Tevian's obviously got the athletic ability on him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if we'll see that much just because he is still young, and I think earlier in the season the reason he wasn't playing that much was because of his defense.
Right.
So, I mean, it's definitely improved, but we'll see. I don't know who you necessarily really throwing him. Maybe even Io. No.
I was only listed at 6'5" or 6'6". So
I was thinking almost Kipper, as much as we just talked about being down on him. I mean, he's got an athletic build that could like maybe stop him from getting inside.
Georgie too.
So I think it's just you throw a slew of players at Ethan Hap. Yeah. You see who works, who doesn't get fouls, and you ride the game just trying to find points anywhere else.
I mean, he also went off against us last time. Hap did.
I mean, and that's when Trent Frazier, dropped that 30-point on him. Speaking of Frazier, though, against Iowa, it was the first time we really saw one of those classic Trent Frazier hot streaks. He scored all 12 of his points in the first half. And he went on a little run there where he hit a couple threes, a couple baskets in a row. And in 16 minutes in the first half, he had 12 points. Are we thinking that maybe this is the start of Trent Frazier kind of finding his game? Because he's had his moments and he's hit those, Trent Frazier pull-up threes in the last few games, but he hasn't had one of those signature, like, hot streaks where he just rips off, like, 12 points, 15 points, and, puts you ahead or brings you back in the game. Against Iowa, we kind of saw that. So is there hope that maybe he's kind of taking back some of that leadership, not leadership, but he's kind of like taking over some more again?
When the Mohawk comes
That's true.
back.
The hair's back.
Yeah.
That's a difference.
It is back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No more of the twisted.
He doesn't have the Travis Scott dreads anymore.
There you go. Do the Mohawk. He did a poll on his Instagram whether or not he should do the twisted or the Mohawk, and the Mohawk won outstandingly. And then some little kid commented on it like, "Your cold streak started when you got the twisted thing." And I was like, he doesn't deserve that. But yeah, Mohawk back. I think he shoots better with it.
I think he's just a little more confident right now. I mean, he's starting to get
that helps. I mean, when you score 12 points in the stretch of like 7 minutes, that helps. I mean, obviously you're better when Trent Frazier is on. I mean, we talked about last week how, maybe him and Io don't complement each other the best at times. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is Trent Frazier is your second best player, one of your best players on the team. And so when he's on, you're just doing better. And you have a better chance at that, like, instant offense, those instant buckets to keep you in a game. I'm hoping that he finds that magic against Wisconsin again and kind of is feeling it early. He knows, all right, I dropped 30 on this team last time. There's no reason I can't do it again. If that happens, I think that's when you have a good chance to win this game.
And Trent's really promising upside came from the second half of the Big Ten season last year when Illinois wasn't really winning games, but you had a positive in your point guard being able to knock down shots and look like he could run the offense. So we very much could see him bring his level of competition up with the level of competition going up here at the end of the Big Ten season.
Yeah. Who do we think do we still think we see the same starting five as the last two games? DeMonte at the 3, and then your usual Io, Trent, Kipper, Georgie?
Probably, but maybe Kipper out. I don't know what you would do, but Tevian's an option. Samba's obviously an option at center, but I don't see it, but
Yeah.
I think the safe bet is that.
Yeah.
Stick with it. But
I'd stick with that if I was a betting man.
Yeah, I would love that for Underwood to just throw Samba in there and just go Georgie Samba in your front court, but I think that's
it's too many young guys.
yeah, and I think that's just I think the same thing with Tevian. It's just way too many guys who aren't completely ready for that type because Georgie's still his game has become more refined, but he's still a little raw. And he's still little rough around the edges. I think Samba's very raw still. Same with Tevian. So if you're putting one or both of them in there, you're asking Io and Trent to do a lot there. You having fun there, Dan?
Yeah.
Guy's back for his first show and is already playing with the props in the studio.
Tommy's the one that put the Tyrannosaurus on top of the car.
But I've been here
That's true.
the whole time.
All right, well, I talked about the Minnesota game already.
He's got the medals. He's got the Tommy's got the scuff marks on his hands.
I'm the crafty vet.
That's true. That's true.
He's crafty.
I'm just happy to be
He's
here.
put in the service. I'm just happy to be here. Yes, we know, Nathan. Nice of you to show up.
Thank you.
But let's do predictions. So I still think Illinois loses. The Iowa game did not provide a lot of confidence for me. Had they been a little closer in that game, had they won that game, I think it'd be a different story. But they lost by 25, 24 after putting a beat down on Minnesota. They couldn't build on that. So I think Wisconsin wins this 75-68. I think Hap just rolls in, drops 23, 24. You don't really know what to do with him. I think the offensive issues continue. I think Iowa does bounce back. I think we see him at or around 20 again. I think we see a decent game from Trent, but after that, I mean, I think those two, you're going to be relying on them too much, and you're not going to get much else.
I will say Wisconsin 65, Illinois 59.
Wow, low.
Yeah, I think that
real low.
I think it's going to be a lot of turnovers. I feel like that's going to be a sloppy game tonight.
Okay.
Yep, I'm going to, sort of similar to Jake, just knock each peg down 3 points. 72-65, Wisconsin win. I think, Wisconsin isn't a team that's going to score a lot of points or really blow you out, but, I mean, they're holding opponents to around 64 points a game, and I think Illinois gets somewhere around there, and Wisconsin, just does their job. 7-point win.
I would actually say Wisconsin wins by a lot. I would say 80-65.
Ooh.
I just think of all teams to just kind of go off on, it would be us.
Yeah.
Personally, I wouldn't like to see Kipper Nichols in the starting lineup.
Mhm.
I was never really high on Kipper Nichols to begin with, but I don't necessarily see who you could throw in there as a viable option. Like I think Tommy said, maybe Tevian.
Yeah.
I would like to see more out there, but yeah, I don't know. That Iowa game was really
It's tough to watch.
yeah, it was not good.
No, it wasn't. No, it really wasn't. I think if you're going to sub out Kipper, your only options are Tevian or Aaron Jordan. If you're going Aaron Jordan, you're going real small with that
Yeah.
lineup. So I don't think you really want to do that. But, okay, that was good. We all made our predictions, and we all have Wisconsin winning. The Illinois basketball woes continue. But we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we have some MLB Hall of Fame talk to get to. Some NFL action happened this weekend, kind of important. And just a couple other national headlines to get to. We'll get to all of that when we come back. Stick around through the break. Welcome back to Illini Drive, Wednesday show, the return of Nathan DeHaan. Anything else you want to say, Nathan? Too bad. Okay, let's move on. NFL talk. A lot of big games happened this weekend, kind of important. Just kind of decided the Super Bowl a little bit. And in the least surprising news to anybody, the Patriots are going back to try and avenge last year's loss. They will probably win because of the Patriots. I was kind of surprised the Rams beat the Saints, though. I thought for sure the Saints would run through that game.
I was all in on the Rams. I called Rams beginning of the season, and so I wanted it.
So I would have said, if you would have asked me before the season, I would have said Rams, but I mean, the Saints should have won that game.
Yeah, that's true.
The Saints should have won that game. Goff outplaying Brees was surprising. I was surprised.
It's not like Breeze even played bad. It's just like Goff surprised me how well he played in that
Goff
game.
showed, because to this point in his career, Jared Goff has shown he's a good quarterback, but not that he's going to make those wow plays or, ice the game for you. And he did, essentially, for LA in this game. I mean, I said this yesterday. really cool to see his progression from people saying he was a bust as the number 1 overall pick, and now he's going to be a Super Bowl quarterback that outplayed Drew Brees in the championship game.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that. I mean,
No.
Goff's been good all year, but like I wouldn't have ever guessed that he would be this good, that he would. I mean, to me, he was always kind of somebody who wasn't going to throw those deep balls that he did that kind of set them up for all of their scores, you know? Like anytime I had really watched him, I just hadn't seen that much out of that.
Right.
And especially like against the Bears, you know, you get pressure on him. They looked like he would just fold. And
Absolutely.
he stepped up, and it surprised me, but good for them. I mean, he deserved it.
Yeah, is Goff this good, or is McVay this genius, or are the Rams just falling on good luck everywhere they go? Because Gurley really isn't playing. I mean, C.J. Anderson carried the most of the load against the Saints, and Goff looked excellent because they had to rely on that passing game. But I don't know. I've always had this weird meter on Jared Goff where it's like I'm not totally sold yet.
Right.
And I guess part of me, wants to say, okay, just give up, like accept that he can make the throws and that he is the quarterback and put your faith in him. But another part of me is like, without McVay, is he doing this? Is he doing this at all? Because I feel like the first part of his career, like you said, it was a lot of like crossing routes, 8 yards downfield, throws that NFL quarterbacks can make in their sleep, and the yards after catch would get him first downs, and it wasn't a lot of him making plays with his arm. Now, I mean, he can throw downfield. I mean, Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, whoever gets open for him, he's got his receivers locked in. I mean, you're asking him to rely on a running back that was, on the streets, and was it week 12, week 13 after he got cut by the Raiders earlier this year, and he's your running back that you're going to take into the Super Bowl. I don't know. Hats off to Jared Goff and this entire Rams team on getting here, because they got unhealthy and they looked like they had a weak defense, and then with Talib back in there and how everything's gone in the playoffs, they look ready.
Had a lot of money on the Rams.
Yeah, the rest. That call's ridiculous.
I think it's the worst call I've ever seen in my life.
It's one of the worst calls.
I don't understand like how you could not call anything there.
The Superdome had to just be like so loud. I mean, like you can hear on TV, but I can only imagine in person.
Is there any confirmation that those refs are alive?
I know. Did you hear that Goodell is like potentially opening the game up though? That it like could be replayed. Schefter tweeted something about how
they're investigating it.
Yeah, they're
looking into
he
it.
opened up an investigation on the game, and like there is actual potential that it could be replayed. And I don't think it happens just because it'd be such a bad look for the NFL.
It'd make me so happy.
But
and then I'd love to see the Saints just go in and smash them.
Oh yeah, take this
just to ruin PJ's fun.
Oh my God, they would.
You know PJ's a Rams fan, right?
Oh, he is.
Yeah,
I did not.
About the Patriots, I would like to say that we knew this was going to happen, right? I mean, everybody was freaking out about their loss to the Lions and their loss to the Dolphins, and the Patriots are dead. No, everybody knew they would end up going 11-5 and going to the Super Bowl. Like it was inevitable. Like it's always going to happen, and now they're going to have their revenge game. It's not against the Eagles, but still, like they're going to have a chance to avenge themselves, and they're probably going to do it, right?
Do you think that when Brady goes down 7, he's like, yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. I get to come back again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
he just turns into that different animal. I mean, the Chiefs take the lead, then it's like, oh, I need to go down and get a touchdown. Okay, here it is. I don't throw for it, but in goes Burkhead or Michelle on that one, and then coin flip. Brady, don't let the MVP touch the ball. Drive down there, touchdown. Patriots.
It's kind of scary, this Patriots team now, because they actually do have a running back with Sony Michel.
I love Sony Michel.
Oh, I love him too.
He's really good.
I mean, it gives the Patriots something they haven't had really in 6 years. I mean, they haven't had like a real like reliable 3-down back.
I'm trying to even think of like
who was you saying in 6 years?
I mean, I was just throwing a number out there. Like
the last one I can even think of, and I wouldn't even consider him like a typical 3-down guy, was like prime Danny Woodhead.
Yeah.
And like
he definitely was not. Yeah, he wasn't a feature.
He was
back.
awesome. Like he was great for them. He was kind of like how we used Tariq Cohen a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
But like he wasn't.
He was a mismatch.
He wasn't Sony Michel.
Yeah,
like.
Yeah. I mean, Sony Michel's just he can outrun you and he can run you over, and he just does everything.
It's crazy
really well.
that Georgia had him and Nick Chubb at the same time.
And Todd Gurley. Gurley was there at this too, I think.
And they had Holyfield too, probably for at least one of those seasons.
Yeah. There's a picture somewhere of like Gurley, Chubb, and Michelle, I think, all standing next to each other on the sideline.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, Alabama did it too when they had like it was when Eddie Lacy was good. I think it was like Lacy, Ingram, and
probably like Trent Richardson.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Like just all these guys that just get all these running backs just coming out of these schools.
I'm looking at the Patriots like rushing all-time list, and
that's got to be ugly.
dude, Brady is their leading rusher.
No way.
I'm not kidding.
Really?
No, he's not. My bad. No, I accidentally switched the list.
I said with what, like 600 yards?
with 1,000, it would have been.
Jeez.
I'm looking at the list of people like
Jim Nance.
it doesn't take much to be a Patriots running back.
I mean, think about the guys that they
Jim
had.
Nance is their second all-time leading rusher.
Who was their first?
Sam Cunningham,
Jeez.
a fullback from the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, think about
70s.
Jim Nance.
Think about the guys that they've had, like Stephen Ridley, Deion Lewis,
LeGarrette
James
Blount.
White,
Okay,
Jonas Gray.
The
Remember
first
him?
one that I remember being really
Deion
good
Lewis.
was Corey Dillon.
Yeah.
He was like, he was 04 to 06, and he had 3,180 yards.
Okay.
Sonny Michel's number 34 on the list as a rookie,
That's so
ahead of Brandon
Lawrence
Bolton
Maroney,
and
I
Shane
remember.
Vereen and
Shane Vereen.
already
him
ahead
too.
of James White because they just throw the ball to him.
That's unbelievable.
LeGarrette Blount
Sheesh.
was there for 3 years, and he's
Forgot
number
about
10 on
him,
the
too.
list.
Number 10.
Yeah.
The Patriots. See, that's just ridiculous. So they've never.
Deion Lewis was there for 2 years, and he's 23rd.
Yeah, they've never had like a real feature back.
You remember Ben Jarvis, Green
I
Ellis?
saw that name
Yeah.
too. I was just about to say
Wow.
that name you haven't heard in a while.
See, that's what they did. They just picked guys from like teams and they picked them up on 1 or 2 year deals, guys that had been thrown to the bargain bin, and then they just made them like bruisers.
Do you think that they have just and no shame to anybody? Do you think they have a really bad running backs coach, or just never
They
cared
just have
about
never needed
just
it.
never
yeah.
cared about it?
Because-
Like even pre Brady, like we're not even seeing like
Yeah.
a ton
Dude,
of
Cordero
amazing-
Patterson is 76 all time, and he's only played 15 games with them, and he's a receiver.
Yeah, like I
ran
think
all
the
over the
I think the
Packers.
running backs coach is fine because you're seeing what Sony Michel's doing, but they've just never had a guy that they've had to or been able to rely on like that. Oh man, that's just
amazing.
That's ridiculous. Off the top of your heads right now, we'll do more Super Bowl next week, but it's Patriots, right? Off the top of your head,
I think
without
Patriots,
really thinking about it.
Yeah, I said Patriots by like 3.
Mm.
I think it's gonna be close, but
You're picking the Rams for sure.
I want the Rams.
Yeah.
See, here's the
I
thing.
want
Heart,
the-
your
Here's the
heart
thing.
wants the
I want
Rams.
the
Your brain has
Patriots.
the Patriots.
Every time, see, when it comes to betting, every time I bet against the Patriots, I have to look myself in the mirror and I go, it's Brady. And
Yeah.
so then when it came to this Chiefs game, I kept reminding myself, like, this is Brady in the AFC Championship game. Like, you just can't believe the Chiefs are going to win this, even though everybody else is. And then, it's a Super Bowl. So if I want to take the Rams, like, on air or, on a book or anything like that, I'll have to sit there afterwards and go, I bet against Brady.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't know. I don't want the Patriots to win.
I would like to make a correction. This is a different Jim Nance that with their second time all-time leading rusher.
Oh,
That makes more
okay.
sense. I was gonna say.
Imagine his just syrupy voice
Yeah.
saying "good game" to everybody afterwards, and
Yeah, I
thank
was
you to
gonna
his
say-
O
I was
lineman.
gonna say I don't know
He
if
played
that's right.
football,
Yeah,
but-
but I was like, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Second all-time leading rusher for the Patriots does not sound right. I'd also like to say that if not for a tipped kick, the Bears would absolutely be going to the Super Bowl. They're better than all the teams.
Boo.
They're better than the Rams. I think.
I'm
If
a
this,
Packers fan, so I'm going to boo him saying a good statement.
You lose to the Rams.
We beat the Rams.
I think
Yeah,
I think the Bears beat the Rams.
Dude, you beat the Rams, but barely, though, dude. Like,
I-
we would smoke them again.
I-
The Rams
yeah.
are soft.
You beat them at
The
home.
Rams barely got by the Saints, and the Saints haven't played a good game in 6 weeks.
Saints should have won that game, and
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
think I think if the Saints played that bad against the Rams, the Bears absolutely eat them alive.
I don't know, man.
But next year, it's fine.
If
But
you want to talk Bears, I'll make my statement.
Nathan has some gripes with the Pro Bowl voting.
I
Such
want to
Trubisky,
congratulate.
dude.
I want to congratulate the Bears because you guys did have a 12-4 season, and that is awesome, especially
Thank
to
you.
be a Bears fan. But that
was.
was a 12-4 season because of your defense, and it
Sure.
was not because of your quarterback. So the idea that Mitch Trubisky deserves the Pro Bowl nod
me get
over
some
somebody
stats
like
ready.
Russell Wilson, you want some stats?
Russell Wilson's there.
I mean, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Oh, is he a late ad?
Yep.
Okay,
So
well,
he's
well,
there.
good.
Yeah,
So
I
he got
was like, what are you
added
talking
at
about?
the same time Trubisky did.
Trubisky this season was 14th in completion percentage, 15th in touchdowns, 16th in passer rating, and 20th in yards. He did have like the top 3 QBR because that's ESPN's fun little stat they made up to judge quarterbacks rather than passer rating, which they've been using since 80s or 90s. But those are not the statistics of a Pro Bowl quarterback. And,
Okay,
and if you want
you're
to say
about
it's,
to get
and
upset
if you want to
about
say it's because of the
glorified
record's because of the defense.
You're about to get upset about a glorified scrimmage in Hawaii.
Orlando now, not even
Oh,
Hawaii,
whoa.
because they wanted to make it easier because it was too much work to
Exactly.
send them to Hawaii.
That's what I'm saying. If you're about to get upset about this, like if it was an all-pro thing, then
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, because that's like a legitimate achievement. Pro Bowl, like at this point, is literally the biggest. Like
Right.
it's a
It's a
huge
joke.
joke.
Yeah.
It's
It's
basically
like the most meaningless All-Star game.
It's
that there
basically
is.
anybody that's like pretty good that's not playing in the playoffs still.
I just
because
think
Nathan, my thing is like he was a late ad, so it's not like he got voted in as a starter. I mean, who are you going to put above him? Like, are you going to put Matt Stafford in there, Kirk Cousins, like Dak Prescott? Like, who would you put instead of Trubisky?
I mean, look.
I mean, what are your options?
I there's plenty of people that I'd put in front of Trubisky because
Who?
because
Name 'em. Name 'em.
I'm trying to pull up something real right now, so I don't just sit here and spout off names. But
Breeze obviously isn't going to do it. The Rams, Goff is in the Super Bowl. I'm looking at the NFC here.
Yeah,
Patriots
same,
are the
that's
fourth.
what-
I'm looking through the top 10 offenses.
The
so
only
it goes,
the only options are Dak Prescott, whoever Washington's quarterback was, they're like fourth string. Nick Foles.
to me, Matt Ryan.
What?
Matt Ryan had the
What?
third most yards in the league.
Yeah,
And
but
it was
stunk.
it was a disappointing season, but your season was only 12-4 because of the defense. I was less
Dude,
impressed.
that it was
I
only
was
yeah,
less
you can't
impressed
say-
with
Dude,
Trubisky
I mean,
as the season went on.
This is a top 10 defense. He played his best game of the year on the his best quarters of the year was the second half in the playoff game.
Yeah.
He did look good.
So
he made
how can you
some
say that-
solid throws.
How
He-
can
that
you
was-
say that you're unimpressed with him as the season goes along then? Because he played probably the best game of his career in the last game that he's played.
Because that was the only game that I saw that he made the throws that I didn't think he could make all year, and he proved me right all year. He proved me right over and over again when he'd have 2-3 interception games.
It's a
The
shame
minute that
he's
he
a
took
Pro Bowl
20 to
quarterback
20.
then. It's a real shame that he's playing in the Pro Bowl. Oh, God, I'm just disgusted that Mitchell Trubisky's a Pro Bowl quarterback.
I want
disgusted.
Dak Prescott in that game
I
right
will
now.
not watch 1 second of this Pro Bowl now because Mitchell Trubisky's on the roster for the NFC, and I'm upset. Because the Bears defense is really good, and that's the only reason that Mitch Trubisky's in the Pro Bowl.
Also, the last time that Mitch Trubisky had an interception was December 9th.
Ooh.
So in his last 4 games, he didn't have an interception.
Thoughts?
Ooh.
Thoughts? He was still 12th in the league in interceptions.
Okay, yeah.
Behind people like Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He still
But
ran,
you-
he
but
still
your
ran a
statement
top
was-
10
your
statistic offense.
Your statement was that over and over, I watched him make throws and throw interceptions. He didn't throw an interception to close out the last 4 games of the season.
Congratulations. I mean, I
That's what your statement was.
I saw multiple multi-interception games, and I don't care that it
Like
didn't
any
happen in the
rookie
last
quarterback
4.
does.
Not a rookie.
Essentially a rookie, Nathan.
Not a rookie.
Don't you say that John Fox season was an actual season.
Why are you
Pat
so
Mahomes is
salty?
not a rookie. I'm just.
Why are you so
Why am I so
salty?
salty? Because Bears fans all of a sudden think that Mitch Trubisky is this huge answer at quarterback, and I got less impressed when I was saying at the beginning of the season that I thought Trubisky was the man, and now I'm less worried about the Bears offense going forward because it looks like you guys are going to rely on a quarterback that I really don't think is all that.
So I think you're a little bit biased. I'm gonna say that.
That's fair.
I think you're slightly biased. Don't get me wrong. Like, was he an All-Pro quarterback this year? Absolutely not. No.
Far
Was
from
he
it.
what I what I think that he is down the road this year? Absolutely not. Did he have an okay year? Sure. He was solid. He won us games. He went out there, and you could clearly tell we were a lot worse when he was not out there. I mean, look, if for all intents and purposes, this is his first full season under a real offensive coordinator with a real system since high school.
System quarterback.
I'm going to throw up all over you right now, Nathan. That's
I-
the worst take I've ever heard. System quarterback.
Nathan,
Look,
I mean-
look, don't get me wrong. Nagy's a great coach. I love him. I think that he definitely played to Mitch's strengths this year. But, like, you have to do that when this is more or less. Would you agree that take away any, like, fan like purposes aside of this, would you agree he was, for all intents and purposes, a rookie quarterback this year?
Sure. I will give you that, yes, he's in his second year, and he didn't start most of the first year. So,
And
yeah, he
even
was
in
under
even in
20
that
games.
first year, it was with a John Fox offense that was completely just disgusting. It was putrid. It was horrible.
Yeah.
So
It was.
yes,
It's
I'll give you
awesome.
this. This was his 1 year. This is his first year in a Matt Nagy system with a real offensive coordinator, with any really real weapons, any receivers that could catch the ball. We didn't have Allen Robinson before. You didn't have a lot of these guys. And he made a big step. Like it or not, like if you like him or not as a player, you can't deny that his numbers this year were a huge improvement from that first year.
Of course.
And he's gonna like the way that he plays, he's just so athletic. And once he gets those balls down, like once he gets that more familiar with this offense, he's only gonna improve.
I just think that Trubisky is always going to sit as somewhere between a 10 to 15 quarterback. I don't think his ceiling puts him ever in a conversation for an All-Pro. I don't think that he's ever
need to
going
be an All-Pro.
But I don't think he's ever even going to be a top 5.
I think his ceiling is a top 5.
I don't.
Tippy top ceiling. Like
Okay,
tippy top of his potential.
Look at the quarterback position in this league right now. Outside of Tom Brady, outside of Drew Brees, who will both be gone within the next
No,
3 years.
We'll talk about this generation. We'll talk about the young quarterbacks right now.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
And you want to compare Trubisky to Patrick Mahomes out of the same draft, Deshaun Watson. Andrew Luck is sort of the edge of that new era of quarterbacks.
He's at the very edge.
Andrew Luck
Okay,
is
sure.
still relatively young. Carson Wentz is still. I mean, he showed what he could give you an MVP season. Jared Goff, like we talked about earlier.
I would take Trubisky over Goff. I would take Trubisky over
Baker
Deshaun
Mayfield.
Watson. I would take him over Dak. I would take him over.
I have some numbers that I would like to
Let's
say.
hear 'em.
Trubisky's
Talk
numbers
that truth, Jake.
in his first full season are better than Rodgers' first full season in yards, in touchdowns, and completion percentage is the same. And the only thing that Rodgers has on him is interceptions, and that's by a few.
It was fine. We were
And first full season.
If
Rodgers turned out okay.
Rodgers was 6-10 in that season, I believe. We still didn't really have any idea what we were doing on defense.
That's not
Make
what I'm
all the
saying.
excuses you want,
That's
though.
not
But
what I'm saying.
Mitch was better. Like that's what we're saying.
First full season, Mitch was better than Rodgers was in his first full season, and Rodgers turned out okay. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I know that's all you're saying. But first full season for Trubisky is him in his second year in the league, and John Fox offense. You can make that claim all you want, but
I will.
What about Rodgers' second season? I'd be curious to hear those numbers.
Rodgers'
because
second season, he had Trubisky beat in completion percentage by a point. Trubisky still had more yards. Trubisky still had more touchdowns. Rodgers cut down the interceptions considerably, but other than that, Trubisky still had him beat in most categories.
okay.
That was a very
I can taste that sauce.
Because a lot of those touchdowns and yards came in that awesome Tampa Bay Buccaneers game when half
those
visitors
touchdowns came from one game.
If you want me to get nitpicky, I will, but I'm just trying to have a better conversation on radio for our listeners than me just whine.
So take away 3 of Mitch's touchdowns from that Tampa Bay game. He still has 28, which is only 2 less than Rodgers had in his second full season.
Okay, man. I'm ready for the offseason.
Dude, Trubisky is no Aaron Rodgers by any means. That's not what we're saying. But dude,
I know that's not what you're saying.
But he's a
Mitch
franchise quarterback.
right?
I think he's got a lot to prove before you tag him, before you sit there and say that he's a franchise.
I mean, look at the throws he made against Minnesota, against Green Bay, even against Philadelphia. He orchestrated a game-winning drive.
Give me a Bears quarterback besides Jim McMahon that actually had like a very solid season.
Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler.
I love Jay.
You love Jay.
I did.
Yeah,
Jay Cutler, best quarterback Bears.
Jay
have.
Cutler is the best quarterback in Bears.
Jay Cutler got you to an
Like
NFC Championship game.
Huh?
One.
Yeah. This is more than anybody else, man.
Yeah, I mean,
it's more than anybody else not named Rex Grossman.
Love or hate his personality, like he was pretty good for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jay Cutler, Jim McMahon.
That's about it.
That's it.
That's it. Period. Whether or not Trubisky is like the answer, like that, like the Bears just have never had a franchise quarterback.
That's why we're pretty just so high on him, because damn, like we haven't really had an answer since.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys, I'll let you have it.
Look,
You
man,
want to watch Pro Bowl? You wanna watch
Dude,
Pro
no,
Bowl?
I will not watch any second of the Pro Bowl because Mitch is on a roster. No, absolutely not.
I'm not watching the Pro Bowl.
No, I'm not going to watch it because Mitch is playing on our team.
why would you watch it?
I
Come
wasn't
on.
Tariq
gonna watch
Cohen's
it.
When was the
playing.
last time you actually watched the Pro
Jackson.
Bowl?
Yeah, I wasn't going to watch it anyway. You
Yeah, I
kidding me,
was not
dude?
going to watch it anyway.
I haven't
Is there
watched the
any
Pro
way
Bowl
to
since
fix
like
the Pro Bowl?
like seventh
No.
grade.
No, 'cause
All All-Star games are, for better or worse, a joke. I mean, baseball's fine.
Hockey, they play.
I still think
hockey's fun.
The last NBA All-Star
baseball,
game was
the
decent.
home run derby matters more than the game. Like people care about that more than
Yeah,
the
but
game.
the game matters because of the World Series.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Did they get rid of
They
that?
got rid of
Yeah,
it like 3 years ago, dude.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Was it 3 years
No,
ago?
It was
right after the Cubs.
It was a few years, 2 years ago. Okay.
Yes.
2 World Series ago. Sorry, I was off by 1 year. Um,
I didn't realize that.
yeah, they got rid of that, so it's
That's good.
Games
I'm
meaningless
glad
now.
they did
Yeah.
that.
Oh
Because
yeah, it was
that was a
absolutely the
horrible rule.
better decision. Yeah. But speaking of baseball, moving on, Hall of Fame. Your class is Roy Halladay, Mike Mussina, Mariano Rivera, and who was the fourth?
Edgar Martinez.
Edgar Martinez.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Edgar Martinez finally gets in. He's been making that push as a DH. He deserved to get in. His hitting statistics are unbelievable. Really happy Roy Halladay got in. He deserved it regardless of what happened. So really happy that he got in. Mariano Rivera, first 100% unanimous Hall of Famer. I have a take on this.
Okay.
He deserved to be 100%. He did not deserve to be the first.
Yes, I agree.
You could have.
agree.
I mean, it could have been. It should have been Griffey, probably.
Yeah.
You could have made the case for Cal Ripken too.
Yes.
Who was the other one you said earlier, Nathan?
Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan. You could absolutely could have made a case for him too. But I think this sets a good precedent that guys can get in with 100% now, and guys shouldn't be voting just because. Oh well, it hasn't been done before. Who cares, man? They deserve it. They're really, really good. So I think that's really good.
Juan Pierre was on the ballot.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow, I'm looking at this ballot now. There's some crazy names on this.
I mean, everybody gets
Wells.
on it for after 5 years after retirement.
I mean, yeah, but Juan
but most
Pierre-
most guys fall off. Right?
Rick
I mean,
Ankiel,
right
Jason
away.
Bay, Freddie Garcia, John Garland,
Sweaty Freddy.
Ted Lilly, Derek Lowe,
Ted
Darren Oliver.
Lilly,
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Placido Polanco got 2 votes. What? Roy Oswalt, Miguel Tejada. Oh my God.
There's a lot of guys on there.
I will say this draft class.
Hall of Fame class.
This Hall of Fame class, I think, is for me the most, I guess, deserving that I've seen
Mm-hmm.
in recent years. Like, I think everybody that got in is well deserved and should be in.
I don't get how Barry Bonds gets 60% of the vote and
Yep.
Sammy only gets 8.
So we'll do
Dude,
Barry
yeah.
first. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens both went up, I think, 2%.
They should
this
not
year.
be in the Hall of Fame.
I think they
Whoa!
They should not be.
Oh,
That's
let's
a
have this
take.
talk.
Let's go, dude.
I
What?
100% think they should be in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think they should be in. I have,
You're a
like
baseball
this.
purist?
yeah, like, dude,
Really?
like anything like with steroids and all that. Like, I was just never a fan of that. Even if
Interesting.
you're in that conversation, I believe you should not be. Like, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Interesting.
Yeah, Pete Rose should
I'm-
be on
Pete
that.
Rose should be in the Hall
I'm
of
all
Fame.
for them all to be on steroids.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
like, I just can't stand like dudes like taking steroids or even being in that conversation.
even if you did like an asterisk or something, especially Bonds, essentially brought baseball back and made it exciting again and made it like appointment viewing again. So the guy who hit the most home runs in the history of the game absolutely should be in. Clemens was unbelievable too.
Hank Aaron hit the most home runs.
Let's go.
No, it's Barry Bonds.
It's
No, it
very
was
Bonds.
Hank Aaron.
I think they
Hank
should
Aaron
both
was
be in.
legit.
Barry
I
Bonds
think it's
by a
preposterous
hot.
that they're both not in. The only problem with both of them is it's not going to get easier because going forward, you're getting guys like Cliff Lee, Derek Jeter, Carlos Pena. I had it up yesterday, but you're getting a bunch of guys that are coming in that are deserving too, and that will get votes and will maybe take votes away from them.
So looking at like the first ones to not get on, Schilling had 60 point.
Chilling tomorrow.
He had 60.9%. Clemens was the second highest vote getter to not make it with 59.5.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Bonds got 59.1. Larry Walker at 54.6.
Yeah.
He's got one more year left on the ballot. Omar Vizquel got 43. Fred McGriff just got knocked off the ballot by not making it. Manny Ramirez at 23. Jeff Kent 18. Scott Rowland 17. Billy Wagner 16. Helton 16. Gary Sheffield at 13.5. I mean, there's a lot of guys right there.
And next, so 2020, you're adding Derek Jeter, Jason Giambi, Cliff Lee, Alfonso Soriano might get some votes.
Oh.
Paul Konerko, Marco Scudero.
I loved Alfonso Soriano.
Raul
His
Banez.
preposterously long bat.
Who else gave me- yeah, that was. If anybody wants to vote for Nate McLouth, you can. And then 2021, you're getting Tim Hudson, Mark Burley, Torrey Hunter, Dan Aaron, Barry Zito, Shane Victorino. I'm sure will get some votes. AJ
Dan
Burnett,
Aaron.
Nick Swisher, Banez again,
Swisher.
CJ Wilson,
Okay,
Kadire.
Wow. already.
There was one more at the bottom here that I said yesterday, but I don't remember. Skip Schumacher.
Here-
No.
Skip
But
Schumacher.
I mean, you're getting like 4 or 5 guys each of the next 2 years that are probably going to get some votes. So Bonds and Clemens, they're running out of time here.
But
'Cause they're
they're-
off after 2021.
There's also, but there's a different way of looking
This
at
was
it.
their 7th year. They still got 3 more years.
So yeah, so
20, 21,
20
22.
oh, so
2022.
22.
So something that to sort of refute the point that you said about how
No,
it's getting
this was Bonds' 8th. This was Bond. Yeah,
No, it's not. I'm looking at it right here. I've got it. 7th for Sosa.
This is not his age.
according to
This is his
I'm looking
7th.
at 2020. My bad. Yeah.
This is
Okay.
7th.
So yeah. So 2022, Clemens and Bonds are done.
okay.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah.
You said 2021.
Yeah.
For-
Because I was looking at the wrong thing. My bad. That's on me.
For the steroid guys, what's interesting though is of the ballots that people showed and said that they wanted the public to see, 71% said Bonds and Clemens they wanted on, and then for those that they didn't show, I think it was like 45
something like
something,
that.
yeah,
It was
in
the
that,
Jeff
in that
Passan
range.
tweet, yeah.
So
So
it's
it's crusty writers that better on
The
forever.
guys. So that's the thing. Those guys are like getting phased out a little bit.
Right.
And
So
al-
maybe that's Bonds'
and maybe
chance.
this is them showing their ballots and being like, hey, like we're starting to be okay with the
Right.
steroid guys getting in the hall, and maybe public opinion that sort of switches over some of the guys that are also voting. I don't know. I think that I could see it happening. Possibly, I know the classes get hard, but maybe you end up having a big class, and maybe it comes to 2022, and a bunch of people look at themselves and go, okay, this is the last year. Do we really keep Bonds and Clemens out of the Hall of Fame?
Sammy deserves it too.
I think Sammy deserves it because I think he was
As a Cardinals fan, do you think Sammy deserves it?
and McGuire.
Yeah, McGuire too.
Yes, and I think the guys that are going ahead of him deserve it more. I think he would need like a weaker class.
That's
I
fair.
mean,
Kind of good. I think the
his
same thing with
career-
Manny Ramirez.
He
I
has
think-
2,400 hits and 609 home runs.
No, yeah,
1,700 RBIs. Like,
yeah, no, he should, but I just think he's not going to get ahead of the guys that are already ahead of him.
Yeah, they're gonna let in like Barry Bonds,
did you
the
know
home run
Sammy
leader.
played on the White Sox
Yeah.
Yeah.
for 3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I knew I've like seen like, wow, that shocks me. I thought he came straight from the Rangers to the Cubs.
Also,
Wow.
this was Edgar Martinez's last year on the ballot, no?
Yeah, he made it.
Yeah.
So,
Good for him.
so you might get that kind of situation with Bonds too.
When is Ortiz? He's
Ortiz
not probably
is,
up
I
to,
think-
2023, 24.
because he retired in 2017.
I thought, was it?
It was after the
2017?
World Series, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it must have been 17.
Yeah, so I think he might be on the 21 ballot. Was 2016 his last year?
No, was it 20?
Oh, when the Red Sox won the World Series this year, and then when was the time before that? It wasn't 2017.
2013. See, he didn't
Was that
retire
long
after
ago?
that.
No, it was like
no.
was it?
He
2 or 3
retired
years?
after 2016. So
Okay.
Okay.
he goes on, I think, in 21.
Yeah.
21 or 22.
He should be.
Oh, he'll get in first ballot.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yes.
I think-
People's champion.
Yeah, he'll absolutely get on first ballot.
I feel like some people, like if the old crusty people are still there, they might
No,
be.
it-
They
it-
might
he
be
should be
like,
first
"Oh no,
ballot.
he's a DH."
if Edgar Martinez got on, David Ortiz.
But
will
it
get
took
on.
him 10 years.
I mean,
Okay, but it's David Ortiz, though.
But that's what I mean. It's like changing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Ortiz, like, I mean, what he did, like especially in the postseason too. I mean,
Yeah.
he was
Like,
unbelievable.
now that Martinez got in, then David Ortiz should probably
Right,
get
that
in
Mar-
first.
Yeah.
Edgar-
Second ballot at that.
Edgar getting in
latest.
sets a precedent. Yeah, 2022, Ortiz will be on the ballot, and so will Coco Crisp. And
Oh, I loved Coco.
It's
Marlon
man,
Third.
Coco
Prince
Crisp.
Fielder will be on the ballot in 2022. If he
Yeah.
had kept playing, he was on that track. Absolutely.
He had a chance, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just very unfortunate the way his career ended with that injury. But yeah, I mean, I really think Bonds should be in. I mean, he was arguably the best player in baseball. I mean, no one's hit more home runs than him.
To hit a home
Hank
run, you
Aaron.
got to make contact.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I think is in favor of the Barry Bonds argument. Although I'm kind
Yeah.
of anti-steroid with you, Alex. I go back and forth on it all the time, though.
I don't know. It's just for me, like it's just way too tainted. Just way too tainted. Just for me to throw him in the Hall of Fame.
I just love.
I don't know. It's just like
Watch people
yes, he has
smack
the most
home
home
runs
runs, but how many of those were legit? I mean, don't get me wrong. Hitting up baseball is the hardest thing to do. I think in sports, you may argue that, but just how many of those were legit? I don't know. So I don't know.
I mean, he's still.
It bugs me. It's
He was
just
still
something that-
leading the league in OBP and for 10 years. I think Bond, you got to do it. I mean, especially the way that it's coming. I think it'll happen, but he won't.
I mean, if he would have stood clean, like honestly, he probably still would be in the Hall of Fame. But why do you have to do it? There's no reason to.
He's trying to smack a million home runs.
It
There's no
falls
way.
to the moon. I mean, even before like he started really popping off with like 40 homer, 50 homer seasons, he was still hitting 24, 34 a year. So
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like those numbers alone, when he was clean, like for sure, in the Hall of Fame. But I mean, why couldn't he stay clean his whole career?
Arguably did.
I don't know.
Alleged.
Yeah, alleged.
I don't
But
know.
that's our show. We will be back on Monday. Listen to Tomorrow with Eli, Isaac, and Tati. And thank you for listening to Illini Drive. For myself, for Tommy, for Nathan, for Alex. This has been Illini Drive. Thank you for listening. Alex, hit the music.